My name is Kathy Rinaldi, and I'm running for County Commissioner in Teton County, Idaho. And I decided to run because I think I think a lot of new ideas can do a lot of good things for our county. Wasn't really on my radar to run this. I thought about it at some point in my life, but I didn't think that I would be doing it now because I have two small kids. But duty called, for lack of a better word. And we have so many opportunities for our community, and we got to be the change we want to see. One of the things that I think I can do is be able to get growth to pay its way a little bit better and improve some of our basic services like the school, the hospital, and the roads, but more so kind of think out of the box for this county and bring more amenities and more services here, such as a complete pathway program. It would be great to see a groomed track between Driggs and Victor that people could ski, that that's multiple use, that the snowmobiles can be on too, and improve our library system, bring more cultural events. It's part of getting the Music on Main series here, and it'd be great to see more events like that. For the last 5 years, Teton County, Idaho has seen an amazing development boom. In the past 5 years, we've seen almost all the ag land be transferred over to being developed for residential uses, and something like 30,000 acres changed in a matter of 2 years from ag to residential. We have currently 15,000 to 18,000 platted lots on the market, which is in any place else in the Intermountain West, in fact anywhere else, is kind of crazy. It would be a population of like 45,000 people. And growth needs to pay its way, and it hasn't for the past 10 years. It needs to pay its way because of the basic services that we all rely on, which is, in Idaho anyway, the schools, the hospital, the roads, the sheriff department, solid waste. And these are just bottom line basic stuff. It doesn't even go towards the library. It doesn't go towards pathway systems. It doesn't go towards the amenities. Growth, it can be a boom or a bane for counties. My husband and I, we co-own a retail store, and we rely on growth, and I think a lot of the businesses in Teton County do. And there's a lot of benefits to growth. It brings in a lot of money into our county. But if it goes haphazard and unplanned, it could ruin a community as well, because it hasn't kept up with services, and it undermines what keeps a place unique like Teton Valley. So in the end, the taxpayer doesn't benefit because they're getting higher taxes to make up the shortfall for services, and the developer doesn't benefit either because they have a hard time selling a property when services haven't kept up. And a lot of the folks here in Teton County have really targeted their market to be the baby boomer generation. We see that Teton Springs, River Rim, Huntsman Springs, all these golf course communities are targeted towards folks in the baby boomers, folks in their 60s, 70s, and they need quality health care that's accessible. And right now, our hospital is cutting services instead of increasing services. So the reason I chose to run is I've been a planning advocate for the last 5 years, and if you think about what a planning advocate is for the community, it's basically taking what we do in our everyday lives and applying it to our community. When you go on a vacation, you plan your vacation. You think about where you're going to go. You buy plane tickets. You think about what you're going to do when you're on vacation. And we should do the same thing for our community. We should have a goal on where we want to be and get a plan in place on how we get there. Instead of what we have been doing is sort of reacting when something has gone wrong, like our dump. The Department of Environmental Quality in Idaho sent the county a letter last July of 2006 and said, we've given you 5 years of warnings about the dump, but we're cutting you off July 31st. And when you're in that situation, all you can do is react. It's a powerless position, and it's very expensive for a community. And I don't think it's the way to go. I don't think we benefit as residents. We certainly don't as taxpayers, and it doesn't do much to help stabilize our economy. So for every tax dollar that is generated for a property tax, say on the dollar basis, the county or the community ends up spending $1.10 or $1.12 or $1.25, depending on where those developments are at. And when you spread out development like that, that affects costs, it affects traffic, which affects water quality, which affects air quality. And in the past 10 years, when we've seen all this growth, we haven't really had much of a plan on how we're going to grow. And we've been growing a lot. And that's starting to impact people's everyday lives. I think people in the past couple years have really tangibly felt the impacts of growth, whether it's noise, traffic, roads, even basic services like schools and hospitals, and where we put our solid waste. The powers, some more of the powers of the county commissioners is they set the budget for the county, they balance the budget, they give the sheriff's department, they approve the sheriff's budget, then the road and bridge is funded a little bit differently, but all of these different departments of the county, the assessor, the clerk, the fire, the emergency services, all the roads, so your snow plowing, in the bridge department, and then the solid waste, they all report to the county commissioners. So you're basically running the county. And there's more, but I don't know if it's really very interesting. It gets a little governmental. Historically, how our government has prevented us from getting what we need is by not having new development, new growth pay its fair share to the services that they impact. And it's a little complex because you may think, gosh, a development goes in and a road goes into it and there's no buildings there. What impact does that have on me? It's on a superficial level, that sounds really simple, but when you look at different land uses, with residential growth being the most expensive a community can construct, to commercial, which being the most revenue generating use that somebody could construct, with agricultural land being right in the middle. When you rely on residential growth as your economic base, you've just picked the most expensive thing you could possibly serve. And we know in Idaho, with our 3% tax cap on property and an expensive product out there, we are never catching up with our services. So historically in the county, we've never asked new development to pay its fair share. And because of that, we are now not able to get the services that we all need. And there's increased demands, and services are either going down or they're staying stagnant. And our revenue streams are shrinking. And it's going to take some very creative thinking on how to not only get our services up to par, and these are just basic stuff, things like, EMS and where we put our garbage and the roads we drive on. These aren't the amenities. So for us to be able to fund those, it's playing a game of catch up in a really tough economy. But it's Teton Valley. If any place can come out of that, I think Teton Valley can. It's an incredible community of people, very philanthropic. There's a huge philanthropic side to our community. We've got an amazing, talented population of talented people. It's impressive. Like, where else can you go and you've got a Nobel Prize winning physicist who lives there? It's a lot of talent, and I think it's going to be reaching out to the community and all of us getting together and sort of doing an assessment of what we have, identifying what we need, and then being really creative of how we get there. So that was kind of a long answer to a short question, but basically, in a nutshell, because we haven't had growth pay its way for a very long time, it's now affecting all the residents in the county, and including the people who want to come in and develop property.